Legends told of 3 who will be chosen above the rest. That's right! Oh, it's time to visit the Win Ninja Academy, folks! Yes, it is your boy, Jeremy, aka Captain Subpar. Toy reviews, that's right. 2 big toy reviews in just a few days. You already saw the Dino Megazord from the Power Morphicon exclusive. That was some hotness. That was pretty cool. I hope you enjoyed it. You know, it's an interesting figure, but that being said, we have some more figures today. Yes, I went to Target, went to my Target, saw nothing, went to the neighboring Target, found some stuff. Unfortunately, I did not find the MMPR figures. Did not find a Jason, did not find a Tommy. They're part of Wave 1, but I did find what I would consider to be even better figures, because no offense to those 2 dudes, you know, generic short hair white guy, generic long hair white guy, whatever. We have enough figures of the both of you. I'll get those later. But what we have is Dustin, Shane, and my personal favorite, Tori. Yes, the 3. I say yes a lot, don't I? not Daniel Bryan, but whatever. I'll say yes. Anyway, the Ninja Storm figures, as you can see on the back, we talked about this before. That's Wave 1. The 3 Ninja Storm figures, the 2 main guys from MMPR. That's what we've got. I honestly don't know when we'll see the rest of Ninja Storm. They were not advertised. I don't believe I've seen them advertised for the line yet. I'm sure we'll eventually get to them. For those who don't know, the line, they're not necessarily just going season by season. They're giving you like pieces of each season in multiple waves. In Space is coming up very soon. When we were at Power Morphicon, they announced the Zeo is coming next year. So there's a lot of new figures in this line coming up. They do plan to get through every single season. I don't know how that's going to work with all the 6th Rangers. Again, all the oddball teams like a Ninja Storm or maybe a Jungle Fury when it starts out with 3 Rangers, but then there's more that are kind of not 6 Rangers, but they're, I don't know. I don't know how they're doing that. But I do know with this that it only takes these 3 Rangers to make the Storm Megazord. There we go. I'll say that. So hopefully if we get a Hunter and Blake figures, they'll make their own Megazord. Maybe Cam will have his. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I think we should crack these figures open. Also, before I do that, just reminder, these figures retail for 20 bucks a piece. The Dino Megazord I had the other day, that was a $40 item, but that was a one-off thing. And obviously, you know, it's a convention. They're going to jack prices. That's just how conventions work, you know. But, so, let's get to that. We'll save Tori for last. She's my favorite. We'll save Red Guy for second. Well, we'll start with Dustin. Big fan of Dustin. First male Yellow Ranger, at least in Power Rangers. Obviously not in the Sentai. But I'm a big fan of Dustin. Waldo, I believe we'll call him. But, let's see. A slice up there. A slice over there. It's as simple as that. And, boy, I'm going to have to find a place to store this stuff because I'm the type that doesn't like to throw away my boxes. Same basic box as the others, you know, just an insert with the bolt. And then, you know, exact same box from the other one, just colored a little bit differently for you right there. And let's see. First we'll get out his Build-A-Zord pieces. He has the lion arm, appropriately enough. And he has the left leg. Now, of course, like I said, with other lines, when there's 5 Rangers on a team, they just split it up a little more. So you'd only get one of each of these pieces with other Rangers. But since there's only 3 Rangers to make the full thing, you get extra pieces. Very cool. And weapon-wise, we've got the sword. It's very detailed. I mean, it doesn't have all of the paint applications. You know, it's a little lacking in the back. And, you know, each individual button isn't painted, but overall, I mean, we've got gold, silver, black, and red. 4 colors for a sword is pretty solid. And then you also have the mode with a few less paint applications, but this is it stored on his back. So you can go either mode, whichever one you prefer. It does not come out of the sheath. It's stuck there. It's molded on. But it does have, you know, a little indent to put it on his back. Oops, let me get him out. Sorry, Dustin, dropped ya. And here we go. Okay, articulation. We have ball joints on the shoulders. We have articulation here just below the arm piece, muscles. I'm good with anatomy. Yeah, and then the elbow, it doesn't just bend, it has a double bend here. You can see that, it has a double bend. So it gives it more flexibility, it allows you to make fuller moves with the arm. And then it has a ball joint at the wrist as well. And now I've heard this is true, that actually the morphers are off on the Ninja Storm ones. Let me check and see what I can see. Because I've heard they don't all have the right morpher. Yeah, it looks like Tori actually has the right morpher, if I'm correct. Yeah, I believe that is. I'll double check. But I've heard that the two guys are accidentally switched because they do have slightly different designs on their disc. And it looks like they did accidentally switch that. Again, I'll double check. More articulation. The neck, it both fully rotates around, but it also goes up and down. So that's a very cool addition that you don't typically see on figures like this, at least from the Power Rangers line. The chest has a full back and forth rotation in the middle of the chest. The waist goes all the way around. Ball joints in the legs. Full like sort of double articulation on the knee, and then rotating right here on the calf. On the calf. And then just a back and forth on the bottom. Actually it does have a full rotation actually. It's not easy to rotate, but it does have a full rotation here on the foot as well. So this is one of the most articulated figures Power Rangers has ever seen. I believe yesterday when we were reading the box it said up to 22 points of articulation. So I mean that's a pretty solid outing. We will put this on his back like so, easy enough. And we will give him the sword, even though obviously he shouldn't be having both at the same time. He doesn't have two swords. But I'm just going to toss it in his hand here just to let you see what it looks like. And that will be our Dustin. I mean, again, like these figures as a whole, I really like the design. I haven't finished opening them, but I will say this. I think that $20 for a figure with this much articulation, this much detail, is a pretty solid price. Obviously, we always all want it to be cheaper. But that's nothing to sneeze at. Little things. I'd like to see the red paint here in the front of the boots, right here. On the design. I'd like to see a little more paint application on the morphers themselves. And obviously I'd like to see the red on the belt too. But again, these are small things. Overall, it's very detailed. It doesn't feel like, at least the back of the figure is too skimped on with the paint. Doesn't seem like they did too bad of a job on that one. So yeah, overall Dustin's a pretty solid figure. He is the first in our line there. Next we will check out Shane. My boy Apua. Pua. And I assume it'll be very similar to Dustin. The main comparison is going to be the female figures, obviously, to the male, the difference there. And of course, as the Red Ranger and the leader, he would have the main part of the Megazord right there, the middle, obvi. Same weapon, same sword, same back mount. Ooh, I put a little tag on him. He's in there a little bit deeper than Dustin was. Are you extra special, Shane? So you gotta take these off very carefully. That is slowing the process down. What else? Alright. But I love how they put him in there like that. He's just like dead raggy doll. But again, similar. All the same points of articulation. I don't need to bother going over that again. Yep, I believe we can confirm. Let me double check. Yep, I can confirm that Dustin and Shane have the opposite morphers. Because I know Dustin's has more points on it because it's representing the mane of a lion. It's hard to see there. I don't know if you can see that very well. But yeah, they have the opposite morphers. So that's a disappointment right there. I mean, I'm sure it was an accident, you know, that was made. Well, just a quick accident, but it's kind of a, it's kind of a big deal. Like it's a sort of mold. It's not a paint app or anything like that. So to make that mistake is disappointing. Maybe they'll correct them in a re-release. You never know. Because I mean, I know with the Legacy figures, they've fixed stuff like on the Thunder Megazord with the leg joints, and with like the Legacy morphers, they fixed the way the sounds come out. So I don't know. Maybe they'll do that. Also, side note, I don't know about you, but I'm left-handed. Rangers are almost always right-handed. I like to put it in left sometimes, even if it's not right. In fact, you might not know this, but Trent, well, really, Aubrey Killer from Aubrey Ranger, actually tended to go left-handed, I believe, and that's one of the, or at least Trent, yeah, did he like to go left-handed? So I always thought that was kind of cool. I mean, I like the costume, I like the character of Trent. Jeffrey Perez was a really cool dude, so I was like, yeah, left-handed, another reason to like that guy. Anyway, we don't have to go into any more detail on Shane. Again, Shane and Dustin are the same basic figure. Not a huge little difference, obviously, with Rangers like this. You're buying them just so you have them all. But it's very cool, you know what I mean? They look very great together. Super detailed. And Ninja Storm is one of those series that I really think details matters. Because, especially the mask, you know, there's a lot of, like, you know, the sort of thing. There's a lot of little intricate details in there. So series like that and series like Zeo, I'm always interested in seeing figures because I want them to have all the painstaking detail. And next up, finally in this little assortment, we will get my girl Tori, my Sally Martin. I'll tell you what, Sally, I've said this in my most recent video, the countdown, but like, Sally Martin is just a boss chick. Like, she played Tori amazingly, and if you're gonna have a team of 6 Rangers with only one female, you gotta have a strong chick, and I think they did an amazing job on that. Big fan of hers. Also, I like female blues. I don't know, female blues are cool. And so we got the dolphin arm, obviously, and we have the other leg to the Megazord. We have all our pieces. We'll put it together in a hot second. She's got little things as well. Also, one of the things I liked with the Ninja Storm was I think that her costume tended to stand out from the others, just because it's got more of that that cool sort of ninja-y gray netting sort of design. So that really made her stick out. Okay, checking the figure. She has the same articulation and all the same spots. I think a really cool note is if you look at the dress, you'll see they have little slits up the side, which obviously aren't there necessarily in the normal the normal actual suits. Or at least I don't think they are. Maybe they are. I don't think so. But that allows more posability. One thing they said at Power Morphicon was that they were trying to make the female figures more more accessible, I guess, you know, because a lot of the female figures, they'll just have the skirt will put their legs really close together, and they'll be so molded tight that when you try to stamp the figures, they'll tilt or they'll completely fall over, and you know that's not cool. You know, the things on a figure, on a costume, on design, just in general, that differentiate male from female should not in any way, shape, or form hinder one or the other. I think that's a very fair statement, and so to have the more posability with the skirt, I think that's a really big deal. And I think collectors, female fans in general will really appreciate that. So that's a very cool thing. Proportion-wise, obviously a lot thinner. Maybe the arms are a little too thin. I'm not 100% sure where I stand on that. I think the legs look fine. I think, oh man, I don't know. Boy, that is a small waist. I don't know. kind of Barbie-ish. And it's not like I want, you know, fat girls or whatever. I'm not saying like, oh, she needs to be plump or, oh, she needs to be just as jacked as the guys. But I do think the proportions should be not idealized, like, you know, not necessarily idealized, but I do think they should be super realistic. Like, I don't want a Barbie figure. That's nonsense. But I think all in all, they did a pretty solid job. And that fits on. I'll let her be a righty too, just because I'm being nice. Oh, stay on the back. But yeah, there she is. And let's see how easy it is to pose her. That's going to be one of the big questions. How quickly can I get her to stand up? Boom. Right away. No muss, no fuss. There she goes. That is your Ninja Storm team, folks. I hope you like them. And I think I want to do a really quick comparison, if that's okay with you. I think a lot of fans are wondering, because these, obviously at $20 a pop, these are still a bit of a commitment. So I wanted to take out my Hurricane Red. This is a Figuarts figure. These figures typically go more... Oh, boy, there's a cobweb in the middle of his legs. That's embarrassing. Yes, he was on the shelf. But these figures tend to go for about $40. Sometimes a little less, sometimes in the $25 to $30 range, depending on how rare they are. And I'll just give you my thoughts. Let's see. Obviously, our American figures are bigger. Our proportions are also quite a bit larger. I think with the Japanese figures, they're really going for the actual in-suit actor proportions. And, you know, that you don't really have jacked Rangers. And while our figure isn't as jacked as a lot of our past figures have been, it's still obviously, you know, it's got the six-pack. It's got everything. Articulation-wise, from what I'm seeing, it's very similar. I actually think ours has a little bit more articulation. Like, Figuarts doesn't have the one right here in the mid-arm. I don't see that at all. And I don't think the knees are quite as bendable. Another one that they do have on us is in the feet. You see the feet here, like in the middle of the foot, they actually do fold, so you can get, like, you know, sort of stepping poses. Another thing they have on us is the hands. One of the things with Figuarts is they come with multiple interchangeable hands, so you can create more classic poses, like the one I kind of have him in now. Here we got one set of hands. They also beat us on paint applications. First, if you look at the back, you can just see, you know, they have extra gold detail on the sword. Even the sword in general, like, they have the individual buttons on the handle painted that I was talking about earlier. The Morpher, they have the actual paint on the Morpher. So that's a big, big deal. What else? I mean, the helmet's pretty comparable. Not really needing any paint apps there. Chest, very similar. I think the gray on their netting on their shoulder is a little more realistic to the actual costumes. So, and they also have, like, cool little fabric lines, like you can see, you know, like where the fabric would be bunching up on the costume. So, it's weird for me because I think in slightly different ways they're both the superior figure. I think ours is cool because I like the bigger size. I like that ours has a little bit more articulation overall. I like that ours comes with pieces of a Megazord. I like theirs because I think theirs has a little more variety when it comes to, like, changing up the hands. I think that theirs is a much more realistic figure. And again, they have more paint apps. Price point wise, typically speaking, with figures like these, ours is, like I said before, ours is about half the price. So, you know, that's an important thing to note. Also, Figuarts hasn't necessarily hit all the series. There's a lot of series where they only have, like, the Red Ranger, or sometimes even no Rangers whatsoever. They tend to cover a lot of the really older series and a lot of the really newer series, but there's a ton in the middle of Super Sentai that they have not covered. So again, if that's a big deal for you, that's something to make note of. But yeah, I think for an American version, for trying to create high quality figures at a decent price point, we're doing very well. I think Ninja Storm is a very good first entry. I think that it's also a very good idea for them to be like, you know what? We want to appeal to all fans. So we're going to take the very first season in MMPR and we're going to take a season that's pretty much right in the middle with the number of series that there have been, and we're going to start with those two, you know, and then kind of work around from there. Get some of the most beloved fan series. Don't just stick to, like, start MMPR and just go down the line. I think that's a very smart decision. Anyway, the last thing you came here for is to check out the Megazord. I do notice the pieces on the back here kind of come off that add a little bit of bulk. I'm not sure if that's a necessary thing, but it's, you know, there's that. It has the same little flaps on the side here that we saw with the Megazord yesterday, where they don't bend, but they have give, kind of just like the skirt on Tori. And we'll put the legs on first. That's easy enough. Oh. Come on. Building a figure, making a Ninja Storm Megazord. Got the legs on. Do. Got Dustin's arm on. Got Tori's arm. There. A little hard to pop on, but we got that. So there we go. Yep, just like the Dino Megazord one. Very solid figure. It's got a lot of articulation, a lot of bends at all the elbows, bends at the feet down here. Obviously, it's not the most detailed figure you're going to find, but it's a very solid, fun entry. Oh, it took me a minute. There, now the head moves around too. So, you know, and then there's always, here's the other thing I didn't mention yesterday. Or sorry, my last video. But weapons seems to be an issue. The black and gold Dino Megazord did not come with a sword. This one does not come with a sword. One thing I know that is interesting is the Red Ranger Jason figure. If you bought the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive one, I don't have it. I wish I did. I want it. If someone has a cheap one out there, you know, let me know. But he actually came with both Jason's sword and a sword for the Megazord. The regular Jason doesn't come with that. And I think that's one interesting thing here, is that while these Rangers come with their regular swords, and I've seen the other figures, like the In Space figures, they come with the blue guns. The MMPR figures, they come with the little, you know, the blade blasters. But I don't see regular weapons. And like the Figure Arts one does come with his regular weapon. And to me, that's a bit of an issue. When I'm buying a figure, when I'm buying a high quality figure, I expect to have all of the basic nuts and bolts. Like, I'm not saying that you need to give me the combination of all the weapons. I'm not saying you need to give me every little thing they ever used in the series. But I do think that if the Rangers have individual weapons in that season, you should give us the individual weapons, not just the team weapon. I think that's a fair thing to ask for. I think I'm a bit disappointed that they don't. Like, I mean, MMPR figures, you're going to buy, you want a Kimberly figure that doesn't have a bow? You want to buy a Zack figure that doesn't have the axe? Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, you want that. They might or might not combine, but, like, I feel like that's a necessary thing. So, on that point, I'm a little disappointed in Bandai, but I get it. You know, I get it. We can't get everything we want. So, there's that, but, you know, live and learn. Will you know, it's still a solid line. Like, that's the one thing I want to say here is, like, I don't want to get down on it because it is a good line. I think that at you know, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, but $20 a piece, good figure, great figure, worth your money. Perfect? No, not perfect, but very, very solid. And the Build-A-Zord thing is a very good idea. Nice thing. I mean, I would buy all the figures from each season anyway, but it's a good little, like, bonus, like, you really want to buy them all. So, that's what we have for that. I really hope you enjoyed this. As always, like this video if you liked it. Comment on this video if you have something interesting to say. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done it already. Share this video with your friends if they're fans of the Wind Ninja Academy. If they want to see some Ninja Storm action. And if you don't want to see some Ninja Storm action, what is wrong with you? It's a fantastic season. It really, really is. Anyway, that's it. What's my catchphrase? Still don't have a catchphrase. I'm going to be king of the toys. Maybe. Still trying that one out. Pretty lame. Jeremy, signing off. Boom. Let's, here, see, that's That's the one. That's the one arm, and that's the other arm, and they're not right. Yeah, whatever.